If there's anything Tottenham are getting right in this summer transfer window, apart from signing Kudus and Pilinho, we need more. It's the loans of these players. It's getting them into clubs just before the season starts, all at domestic teams as well, because we're moving away from the strategy of loaning players abroad and not seeing it working. I know a lot of those players in that previous slide are English players, so it's obvious that they would join English clubs, but this right here is a mess. Bringing Vélez in, loaning him to Rosario Central, loaning him to Espanyol, not letting him get to know the real game. Brian Hill loaning him back to Seville after we signed him, then to Girona. This strategy does not work. So now with some of these players we have got, loaning them to domestic clubs, letting them know the English game, that is such a smart move. Moving aside from the players that have gone on domestic loans in English football, you know, Donnelly, Lancashire, Hall, you know, you saw it in the previous one anyway. We're also loaning players to Scotland now as well. You saw Dorrington go to Aberdeen last year. They won that trophy for the first time in something like 30 years, might have even been more than that. You've seen Mikey Moore go to Rangers. These are two of Scotland's biggest clubs. We're seeing players get to go to these big clubs, explore these fantastic and wild atmospheres, European football as well. This is also great to see. What I specifically like about this strategy is someone like George Abbott, who was really successful at Notts County last season, going up a division. He's gone to League One now with Wickham. You've got Tyrese Hall going to Notts County like George Abbott was, potentially because of how successful George Abbott was. You know, there's been so much talk about Tyrese Hall, and I've got so much excitement to see how this one unfolds. For a bit of Will Lancashire last season, scoring in the Europa League, obviously. It wasn't a particularly successful spell on loan at West Brom last year, but I like that he stayed in the Championship. I like that he's gone to Oxford United, and I think he could really flourish there with time as well. He could potentially be in and around the first team in a couple of seasons. You talk about players that are in and around the first team. I think these two are probably the most likely of that whole list to break through to the first team. I think Donnelly was fantastic at Leighton. We'll see how he steps up at Stoke next season under Robbins. Mikey Moore, again, we've seen him in and around the first team a little bit. Looked fantastic when he's been involved. We've not even spoken about Demola Ajayi, obviously came on against Elfsborg and scored. The list is endless. I think in terms of the core crop, these two are part of the make or break season this season. I think we've given Devine a new deal, but I think he's got a few loan spells now. Phillips as well. These two, if they have really good seasons, they could potentially have a chance next season, but I think there's also every possibility we could sell them in January or the summer. In terms of that make or break bracket, I think Scarlett probably falls into that after maybe one more loan spell. I know he scored in the Europa League, but I think he's had a few loans now. Olasesi hasn't had a loan yet. I think that could be very interesting. Vuskovic, who I still think needs a loan. Apparently, we are exploring that. Really hope it's a domestic loan. Russell Rees-Denny, we signed from Chelsea. It looks like he might go on loan as well. And then obviously Luca Gunter. The future is bright. Seen a lot of comments online about, why are we signing the likes of Minhook if we're just going to keep loaning them out? Some players aren't ready. You don't know if he's actually going to be able to step up or not. That's what loan spells are all. That's to see if he can adjust to the English game. He's going to another Championship side. I like this loan move. Before you speculate on a player's ability, may I remind you of Harold Edward Kane? He needed 4 loan spells before he broke through at Tottenham. Dare I say anything else?